lovelies, and welcome to my booktube channel, The Sassy Library Fox. My name is V, and today I'm going to talk about my October wrap-up. I'm very late with this, but yeah, life's been crazy. October has been extremely busy, more busy than I thought it would be, which is the reason I only managed to read one book for rainboween. Oops. I'm really sorry for that. We still had fun with the readathon, but yeah, this year I wasn't as active as I wanted to be, and I'm very sorry for that, but October was quite the month again. I think I'm always saying this with every wrap-up, but I don't know what it is lately. It's been a very crazy year. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna talk about the 3 books. I only managed to read 3 books I read in October, and I got my coffee at the ready, and we will just do this in a very relaxed way, no stress. We'll just sit down and talk about books, as we usually do. Anyway, never mind. The first book I read and finished in October was The Shadow of the Gods by Gwynne, and I rated that one with 4.5 paws. Yeah, I wrote that down. And it was really amazing. It took me quite a while to get through this book. I think if you follow my channel, you know that I started this book in, I think, April or so. Definitely in spring. And yeah, I didn't manage to finish it until now because it really is such a huge book, and it's epic fantasy, and if you know anything about epic fantasy, you know that it takes quite a while to get through a book like that, because you gotta digest the entire world building, all the characters and everything. So yeah, that's the reason why it took me so long. Because, quite honestly, I loved this book. I enjoyed it so much. As I already said, I rated it 4.5 paws, and that says something. I always wonder why I don't read more epic fantasy, but then I'm reminded of the thickness of the book, and I already know why I didn't read epic fantasy for a while. Anyway, it was a great book. I love the world building. We have that kind of Norse mythology vibe going on, and there are 3 different point of views. We have Okra, who is married with Torkel, and they have a son named Brecker, and they live somewhere on a farm in a fjord, I think, as far as I could gather from the descriptions. And they lead a very simple life. Then we have Varg, who is a thrall, or was a former thrall. He escaped his slave master and joined, I think it was the Belgrim he joined. And that's a band, or a war band of warriors who do the odd job for Jarls, and Jarls are some sort of kings, or I don't know, some sort of government representatives of this world. So yeah, we also follow Elvar, the daughter of a Jarl that got or joined the Belgrim, I think. Yeah, she joined the Belgrim, and the Belgrim is also another band of warriors, and they also fight for coin. And they look for, I don't know, bones of the gods, and they bring things to the Jarls and get paid for that. It's kind of hard to explain because this is really such a multi-layered, complex world building. But yeah, we have those 3 point of views. We have Varg, we have Okra, and we have Elvar, and those 3 are all on their own journey, and somehow they are all kind of connected to each other. I absolutely loved the Belgrim and the Bloodsworn band of warriors. they had great leaders because Glornir and Agnar are really great men, and you could see it in their leadership roles and how they took in the various characters and the 3 point of views we get in here. And well, they all have their own kind of gender. I mean, Orkra's husband was killed and her son was taken, so she tries to get her son back and follows the tracks where he's been taken. Then we have Varg, who joined the Battlegrim and is trying to figure out how to be a part of this warrior band. And then we have Alvar, and Alvar is another warrior and a former daughter of a Jarl that didn't want to get off married. So we follow those 3 point of views. Orkra's journey was very interesting, but also Alvar's journey, because they are looking for the bones of a god. And also Varg's journey was quite interesting because his band of warriors was hired to investigate those missing children, and Orkra's son is one of them. So yeah, they are all kind of connected with each other, and this was great. It's really complicated to tell you about the book, but I absolutely loved it. I loved the world building, I loved the emotions of the characters. It was just amazing, and I can't wait to read the second book, because after that ending, I need to know how it continues. That ending had some twists and turns I never saw coming, and I was like, whoa, oh my gosh. So I'm gonna read the second book soon, if I can get my greedy fingers on it. I hope my library has it already. Okay, never mind. Before I continue to babble, let's just jump to the second book I read in October, and it was Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. And I read it at 4 pause. I read it as a buddy read with my dear sister. You get a finger heart from me if you're watching this. I doubt it, but yeah, you still get a finger heart. And in this book we have Iris and we have Roman. And Iris and Roman are rivals at their newspaper, the Gazette. And they are both hoping to get the same job, so they are working their way towards being, I think they want to be a columnist. They are both aiming for the columnist promotion at the Oath Gazette. And they can't stand each other, but they have respect for each other, which I love. So we have the enemies to lovers trope, but also with a lot of respect. And yeah, I love those two. And they are also kind of writing letters to each other, which Iris doesn't know, because she just tried to write to her brother, but magically her letters were answered by someone else. And her brother went off to war to fight for Enva, which is a goddess. And Dakre, a god, returned as well. And Dakre and Enver have this fight going on, and they are recruiting people from the normal population. One of them was Iris' brother, Forrest. And ever since Forrest went to war, his mother, her mother's health deteriorated. So yeah, Iris decides to go to the front, and Roman, well, he's left behind, but they still write letters, and the rest I'm not gonna spoil. So I absolutely loved the letters and the writing style. Rebecca Ross has a really amazing way to convey feelings and to make her characters tangible. I really would have liked to get a little bit more of the world building, and I mean, for me it worked. My sister said that she would have liked a better or smoother transition into the tale of Enver and Dacre. And that's kind of true. We get those mythology snippets right in the middle because the characters talk about it. But yeah, I think there would have been another way, or could have been another way, to let it float into the story. Personally, for me, it didn't really influence my reading experience or journey, but I know my sister was a little bit annoyed by it, that they would write very personal things and then suddenly would share those snippets of legends and mythology. Yeah, it's really funny because this is this typical kind of what's one man's mate is another man's poison. Or do you say it the other way around? I don't know. But personally, for me, it worked. For my sister, it didn't. So that's always interesting when you do buddy reads. Anyway, I rated that one 4 paws. I really would love to get more about the other characters, the supporting characters. We had Addie and we had Marisol. And yeah, I would have wanted more of them. But of course this is romantasy, and of course Roman Kid and Iris we know were the 2 MCs, so the story mainly focused on them and the mystery about the gods. But yeah, I can't wait to read the second book because after this ending I was reading and I wanted to know how it would continue. But I already think that there will be a trope in the second book I personally really dislike in books, and I honestly hope that Rebecca Ross will be able to write it in a way I can digest it. But I guess we will see and find out. 4 paws it was. Okay, and the last book I read in October, which was actually a rainboween read, yay! Was The Wolf at the Door by Charlie Adhara, and I rated that one with 5 raving stars, or paws in that case, because it was just amazing. I absolutely loved it. I adored this book so much, and wait, just let me take a sip of my coffee here. This book was amazing. We have Cooper Dayton and we have Oliver Park, and Cooper and Oliver are kind of forced to work together. One of them, Cooper, is a human and he works for the BSI, the Bureau of I don't know, whatever. I can't remember, Secret Investigations or something like that. But he works for the BSI, which is a branch of the FBI that goes for supernatural things. And he's a human that was unfortunate enough to encounter a werewolf and to be attacked by him. And now he doesn't work for the FBI anymore, but for the BSI. And we have Oliver Park. And Oliver Park works for the Trust. The Trust is a secret organization of the werewolves who keeps them in check and who has relations to the BSI. So those 2 decide to team up, and Cooper and Oliver are kind of the result of that. They are sent in a small town to investigate a couple of very gruesome murders, and by the looks of it, it were werewolves, but yeah, they try to find their footing, but also to get to know each other and to work together, which isn't that easy. And well, of course, sooner or later there's some sort of attraction between those 2. We're talking about an MM romance here, with a supernatural element. And I personally love their chemistry. Cooper is constantly pissed. He is really such a grumpy guy. And Park is like the easygoing and okay, sure, we're gonna do this kind of type. And I just love their chemistry, how annoyed Cooper sometimes was with Park, and how Park just shook it off and was amused by him. And then we have, I mean, Cooper Dayton is precious. I love that man so damn much. I can't even put it into words. Also, he's extremely relatable. I had a couple of great and good laughs while I read the book because Cooper gets in really interesting situations and it's just hilarious. But also the chemistry between those two was off the charts. I loved it. And yeah, I honestly can't wait to read the second book in the series. I already have it on my Kindle, so I'm gonna read that one pretty soon, I think. And this is the series I needed, honestly. Something with a supernatural queer element and with great chemistry and humor. Just good, just really good. And if the rest of the series is as great as the first book, I'm so here for it. Not to mention that Cooper is one of the most relatable characters ever. The way he thought about certain things, it was just great. Okay, I'll stop here before I continue to rave about this book. But you can see I enjoyed it a lot. I loved it. It was a great rainboween read. It ticked off many prompts and yeah, perfect for me. The perfect series. Okay, so those were the 3 books I read in October. I'm still so sad I didn't manage to finish This Fatal Kiss, but I tried to read it every once in a while and yeah, October was just too busy. Yeah. Either way, I really enjoyed all of those books. I think I got a very high average rating score last month, because if you count all of them together, they must be at least at 4.5 points or so as an average rating. So that's great. I had a great time with reading all of them. I hope that November will be a better reading month and that I'll read more books in November, but I can't guarantee anything at this point. It's just busy and the time before Christmas will only get even busier, so yeah. I will try my best to keep this channel up, I promise you that. Okay, so I really would love to hear if you read any of those 3 books, if you enjoyed them too, what you liked, what you didn't like, if you're planning to read them, what you read in October, if you took part in Rainboween, if you read a couple of queer spooky books as well. I would really love to hear what you have to say about the last month and what you read. And well, I guess there's nothing left to say. We're already at the ending of my video. So all I'm gonna say is take care, stay healthy and safe, and see you around the next time. Bye!